all of you guys. But I just want to share real quick, if you guys gave anything to getting me a new computer so we can start the stream, thank you guys so much. Thank you guys. Thank you. Shout out to all of you guys for helping me out and getting this computer. I'm so excited to reach just, man, so many people out there, reach the people that are out there. I know there's only a couple of people left. We had a good number of people that were signing on, and then everyone dropped off because we were taking a break and had some issues there. But anyways, going back, thank you guys for everyone that donated, everyone that gave and supported the channel. I'm so excited. I've been wanting to do a live stream for a really long time. I believe the super chats are working. So if you guys wouldn't mind, maybe drop me a super chat. I'm not here trying to beg for money or anything, but I really just want to see if this thing works. So if you guys are logged in right now and you guys want to drop a super chat of any amount, I want to see if it's going to show up, and it should. I just want to make sure it's good. But with that being said, again, thank you guys, all those that gave, all of you guys that supported. It means the world to me. I just had my birthday. I'm 33 years old. Thank God I made it to 33. And that's all I wanted for my birthday. I was like, man, I just want to be able to get on a live stream, be able to preach the gospel, be able to just to share. And you guys made it happen. So again, thank you guys for all of you guys that helped out there. If you guys are logged in and are able to, if you're able to drop a super chat, I'll read your guys' comment. And I just want to make sure that everything is working. I wanted to get into some stuff today though, before we get started. Man, it's been a crazy 2023. If you guys made it to 2024, let me know in the comments. Obviously, you guys did. You guys are here, but it's been an amazing year. It's weird because, for some people, 2023 was not the best year. There were some people that have gone through stuff, and I was hearing a couple of different people, their testimonies and stuff, and they're like, oh, 2023 was the worst and everything. For my wife and I, for Andrea and I, like 2023 was the best. Starting in the very beginning of the year, right? In January, it started. We had some people, let's see here. I think we just got some comments coming, but we had Ryan Horton come in January. We connected with Mondo. I think it was in March or February. We led worship at H-Rock. And then, just so many different things. We also had at the Send, we had the Coliseum. Not the Coliseum, the Send. I'm going crazy. We had at the Coliseum, we had I was leading worship with Cali Will Be Saved, with all those guys. It was so amazing. We led worship. I believe that was in April. I believe it was. This year was just like a blur. 2023 was just wild. But we had an amazing year. I think it was. I believe it was in April. We led worship there, and it was amazing, right in front of the Coliseum. I mean, Billy Graham was there, the Send was there at one point. So it was just amazing to be back in LA, to be able to lead worship. And then and the summer was going really well. At that time, we were kind of starting thinking about, finding a place for the church. And then, I believe it was in like August, September time is when Andrea found out she was going to get, she was getting pregnant. And that was amazing too. That was like super. I was so shocked when she told me, that she was pregnant, because as you know, shout out to JoJo. He dropped a bag, $4.99 through Super Chat. Thank you so much, JoJo. Appreciate you, bro. $4.99. JoJo dropped a Super Chat. Thank you, bro. Thank you for helping me with the audio issues. For those that don't know JoJo, he's up in NorCal. Well, kind of like Central, basically, but he's, he was with HCC for a long time. So JoJo is just amazing dude, all things media. So thank you, JoJo. Appreciate you, bro. I know at least the super chats work now, so thank you for supporting, bro. Appreciate you. So anyways, in the summers when we found out Andrea got pregnant, and right before that, we just found out that we got a church in Ontario. So that was amazing enough, right? Then boom, Andrea finds out that she's pregnant. And for those that don't know, if you're just watching for the first time, if you're going to watch this on the replay, and right now, there might not be 1 million people on the live, but there's going to be a lot of people watching this on the replay. So anyways, for those that don't know, Andrea and I, Andrea's been trying to get pregnant for a long time. We got married in 2015. And I'm sorry, 2016, 26. No, sorry. I'm always messing this up. 2015, we got married. 2015, we got married. She's gonna get on me for this one. So 2015, we got married. And then probably around like 2018, 2019 is when we are like, all right, let's start trying for a baby and stuff. It's not like we started right away. But we were trying. So that's what, 2018, 19, 20, at least like 4 or 5 years we've been trying. Cynthia dropped a bag, 189. Thank you, Cynthia. Appreciate you so much for dropping the super chat. Appreciate you so much. Hope you guys like my little emoji right there, making it rain. Thank you, Cynthia, for supporting. Appreciate you so much. So anyways, in the summer, finally she gets pregnant, super excited. And then literally, so we got the church, she gets pregnant, and then, or right before that too, we also got a house. I'm all over the place because I'm telling you guys, 2023 was absolutely wild. We ended up finding out we got, so it was the church in Ontario. Then we got a house, which we're here now in Ontario. So amazing. Like, how does that even happen? I promise that was not planned at all. I was laughing. I was like, man, people are going to think that we also got the church and, or we got the house and then we try to get the church in Ontario so it can be convenient for us. I promise you that you got to talk to God about that one. If you have any issues with it, talk to God, because that is definitely not the case. It was so wild. Literally, we had no clue we were getting the house. So we got the church, we got the house. And I remember saying this to Andrea. Check this out. I remember saying this to Andrea. I said, Andrea, wouldn't it be so crazy if you got pregnant? We got the church, right? We got the house. All we need is the baby at this point. And we're just like, man, that would be a huge blessing. And I remember, I think I said something crazy like, man, if you got pregnant right now, just like kill me. I said something crazy. I know I'm wild. I said something like, man, just shoot me or just kill me. I know I said something horrible. I know Christians are going to hate me. Yesenia dropped $4.99. Thank you, Yesenia. Appreciate you so much. He says, sky's the limit for HEG. This is just the beginning. Thank you, Yesenia. Appreciate you so much. So I remember I was said that. I was like, man, this will be so wild. Steph dropped $4.99 too. Man, everyone's just dropping super chats. Thank you, Steph. Appreciate you so much. Appreciate you, Steph. Amazing. If you guys don't know Steph, she's Andrea's best friend, one of my best friends as well too. We go way back. Anyways, thank you, Steph. Thank you, Senya. Appreciate you guys so much. So anyways, I told Andrea something crazy like, man, if she get pregnant right now, that'll be so crazy. And then sure enough, boom, we found out she was pregnant, which is just absolutely wild, just absolutely blew my mind. The promises of God are yes and amen. Like, our story is so crazy. So that was basically the whole year. I also got a job as well too, a really good job in February of this year. So God's just been lining some things up. And I just want to share this right now. If you're watching this either live right now or on the replay, I just want to let you know that God's promises are always yes and amen. Meaning, if God said something, right? If he promised you something, if he said that something's going to happen, if you received a prophecy or someone, has prayed for you and they've felt something and anything like that, I just want to let you guys know that it will come to pass. Sometimes it's not going to come to pass in our time. And I'll be honest, I was very, very bitter, because I was like, Lord, like, we serve you every week. We're doing all these things for you. Like, I've given my whole life for you. Like, people have walked away. I've lost friendships. I've lost, even with family members, all this stuff. Like, things have happened to us, and you can't even bless us with a kid. Like, come on, we're doing everything right. And I spoke on bitterness earlier last year at the warehouse, when we announced that we were pregnant and stuff. It was funny. I set it all up so good. I got everybody, because I was like speaking on bitterness, and I was like, man, I've been so bitter towards God, because I'm like, Lord, like, when is this going to happen? So many people have prophesied over, it's like, you guys are going to have a baby, you guys have a child, all this stuff. But you get to a point, let's be honest, you get to a point where you're just like, what's happening? When's it going to happen? I'm waiting, and I don't see the promises. And finally, the Lord came through. And what better time than now? Like, you got the church here, you got the house here, you got a good job going, and all of a sudden, bam, here's a child, So it's just crazy. So God's promises, guys, it's just so amazing. Don't ever doubt him. Like, man, I can go on and on about 2023, but it's been such a blessing. For 2024, I've been hearing the Lord say that he's elevating people this year. He's really elevating people, and we're seeing a huge shift in our church right now. I mean, we have like a bunch of new people, all young adults as well too. Like God is definitely doing something. He's moving people up like so quickly. It's not even us. Like God is like elevating people. Like it's so wild. So with that being said, guys, I just want to thank you guys for jumping on again. Everyone that's coming on for the first time right now, I appreciate all of you guys. If you guys aren't following us on social media, I encourage you guys to go check us out right now. Against the Grain Pod. There's periods and in between each word there. So against period, the period, grain period, and then pod, P-O-D, with 3,600 followers on there, and it's been amazing all last year as well too. As we've been, going through all these things, transitioning, all this stuff that God's been doing. Not only that, let's see. It looks like Zio's on right now too. I believe she's doing a super chat, but it'll tell me right now. Anyways, this year was amazing too, right? So the way I started Against the Grain, the reason why I started this channel was just to be able to get in front of people, talk with people, connect with people. And originally, Against the Grain was literally just going to be a podcast for the church. It's funny, guys. Sometimes our plans and the way God has us, his plans for us are just so wild. For me, like I thought it was going to be one way, right? So when I started Against the Grain, this was my thought. I went to my dad. If you guys don't know, my dad's the pastor of our church, right? I went to my dad and I was like, look, this is what I want to do. I want to have a podcast for our church because so many people, Zio just dropped $4.99. Thank you, Zio. Appreciate you so much. Dropping a super chat there. Appreciate you so much, Zio. Thank you so much. You do so much for this channel, for this page. If you guys don't know Zio, man, go follow her on Instagram. She's so amazing. She does so much for this page, for Richie's channel. She helps us as well too. All that. So Zio, thank you so much. Appreciate you so much. But going back to this year, right? Or last year, so I told my dad, right, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to have a podcast for the church. So many people in our church had so many amazing testimonies. We have people from New Age. We have gangsters. We have people that have been shot, have been stabbed, domestic violence. I mean, all these crazy things. And now they're just so different and they're just so changed. So I told my dad, I was like, look, like I want to have a podcast just for our church, because just our church alone, like there's so many amazing testimonies, right? So I was like, it's just going to be small little thing just for our church. All of a sudden, and again, God's plans, guys, like God's plans are crazy. So all of a sudden, boom, channel starts growing, people start watching, people start subscribing. And then all of a sudden it was like, okay, like we're getting a little bit of traction here. We're getting a little bit, of the word out. And then all of a sudden it was like, hey, why don't we get some guests on? So every time a guest speaker would come to our church, we'd get them on the podcast. So if I go way back, I remember having Matt Cruz on. I remember having, what's his name? I had Luke Holter on. I had Peter de Jesus. I've had Elias Flores. I've had just so many different guests, right, that have come on. Tilo, Pastor T, he's been on as well too. So on the podcast. And so it was basically just, all right, we're going to just have people in our church share their testimonies on the podcast. And then if we have a guest speaker come, they're also going to come and also share on the pod, right? So that was it. That was always going to be something little. But if someone can say, but God, that's all I got to say. Someone's got to say in the comments right now, but God. All of a sudden, boom, like God just starts moving on the podcast. All of a sudden, Christina's podcast where she talks about going from New Age, playing with little crystals, right? Playing with some pebbles, some crystals, doing all this stuff, doing yoga, witchcraft, all these things, right? That she's doing. All of a sudden, her podcast blows up. She throws it on TikTok. It's going up. And all of a sudden, I start seeing the vision. All of a sudden, I start seeing the vision where I'm just like, God wants to do something with this platform. And again, this is supposed to be small, something little, and it's just going, right? So all of a sudden last year, I'm having different guests on now. I'm kind of opening it up. And all of a sudden, I come across this guy, right? I come across this dude, and I'm like, what? I got a tattooed clown that loves Jesus, that believes in deliverance. That's just wild for the Lord, right? And I'm just like, my cousin Artie, I'll never forget, right? We're setting up church last year. It was a Sunday. We're setting up church and everything. And then all of a sudden, like my cousin Artie was just like, I got Raylene. Raylene just dropped a super chat. Thank you, Raylene. Appreciate you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you, Raylene. Appreciate you. So my cousin Artie is like, hey, have you heard about this dude? He's a clown, he's tattooed, and he's like doing things for the Lord. And I'm just like, I kind of thought about it. I was like, in my mind, I thought, I feel like I know that. I think I know what he's talking about, but I'd never seen the videos yet. All of a sudden, my cousin Artie shows me the video, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally have met this dude. I met this dude in LA. I'll never forget. I'm walking on the sidewalk next, kind of like we're facing each other, right? I'm walking on the sidewalk, and we're passing each other, and all of a sudden, like, I look at him. This was like 2 years ago. I look at him, and he's tattooed everywhere. Looks like a clown, right? He had the hat on. He had the whole thing going in downtown LA, right? And I passed by, and I was, just to be funny, and I was there, and I was just like, yo, what's up, clown? And he's like, what's up, man? And he like honked his horn at me, right? Little did I know, again, can someone just say, but God? Little did I know, a year later, this man would get saved, Richie the Barber, and he would start moving in deliverance. And after I sent him a message like, yo, dude, hopefully you can come on the podcast. I've seen him on other podcasts, other big platforms in the world. I saw his story, and guess what? Dude comes in and was like, I'd be down to come to your podcast, man. Like, I would love to connect with you. Shows up to the podcast, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, the channel blows up. We have on just one video alone, I think we had 5 million views. I think it's this top one here. We'll see if you guys can actually hear this, or let's see.
Right? And they're pissed because they're like, well, I've been, and they do it in my face, like, well, I know the Bible, I know this, and I know that. I'm like, okay, cool. Why are you mad at me? I thought we were all on the same team, Jesus. Yep. What the heck are you doing? Why are you trying to diffuse my flame? Yeah. Why don't you fan my flame? Yep. I mean, holy fire, come on, dude. Come on. And then you got the Christians that look at me and like, why? Wait, is this a joke? I'm all, dude, I'm not clowning. And then they go, well, why are you all on fire? I'm all, it's God. Don't you believe in God? And they go, well, there's no way. And then I get the messages, and they look at me straight in the face, and they go, and we'll see about it in 6 months more. Yeah, you're Christian, and you're looking at me, and you're telling me, why aren't you encouraging me? Yeah. What's the matter with you? Yeah. What the heck are you doing? When God moves, he moves. So there's all these Christians, right?
So shout out to Richie, right? That was actually the first time that I actually got a chance to meet him. That was the very first episode that he came, right? So he's there, and all of a sudden I'm like looking at him, and I'm interviewing him, right? And that was one of the clips. I think that one hit 5 million views. Yeah, that's the one that hit 5 million views, right? It has like so many comments. It was just blowing up last year, and I was just like, I remember at one point just kind of sitting back, and I was just like, Lord, like, your plans. Like, I can't believe, like, all last year, I'm telling you guys, like, all last year, God is just wrecking me, because he's just like, he wants to do something. Like, he wants to get the gospel. He wants people saved, set free, delivered. And I'm just like, who am I? Like, have you guys ever felt that before, where you're just like, who am I? Like, you might feel like you're not called, you're not worthy, like you've messed up too much, you've done too many things, where you're just like, God can't use me. Like, I'm here to support, I'm here to go to church, whatever, but to do something big, like, it's probably not gonna happen with me. And I'm telling you, like, get that out of your head, because if you limit God, like, you don't know the people that you're actually impacting in a negative way, because God wants to use you. But when you start having excuses and stuff, it's like, man, those people are going to miss it. So Richie comes, right? This was last year. Richie comes, the podcast blows up. We hit like 16, 17,000 followers on YouTube here. 3,600 on Instagram. That video goes viral, gets 5 million views. It's just going up. It's just going up. It's going crazy. And again, I'm just like so blown away. Like, I'm trying to keep up, right? Like, just with life at this point, because I'm like, okay, all of a sudden everything's going up, everything's going crazy. I'm having a baby. We got the church, we got the house. Like, I'm working full time. Like, I'm just trying to stay on the horse. Like, if someone can understand what I'm talking about, like, I'm just trying to hold on at this point, because just one of these things is enough for me for the year, right? Like, if I just think about getting our own church and getting a place that we can call home on a Thursday and a Sunday, and have it packed with people just worshiping and just everything that we're experiencing there, just that alone last year in 2023 would have been enough for me. I've been like, Lord, you are faithful. You are so good. Like, man, I have like no complaints. And then, okay, if you threw me just a house last year, I'd be like, Lord, thank you for this house. I mean, look at the floors going. We got paint going. Like God has blessed us so wild. I wish I can tell you guys everything that went on with this house, the way we got it, the way everything that we got, just hooked up like crazy. Men of God that have came and have donated their time, and it's just wild. It's so wild, right? Like just that alone. If you just gave me a house last year, I'd be grateful. Okay, if you told me I'm just gonna have a baby last year, like Andrea's just gonna get pregnant, that's it, that's all I have for 2023, I'd be like, Lord, thank you. Man, God is so good. Like just that's enough, right? And then if you just told me, okay, your podcast is gonna blow up, it's gonna reach people, you're gonna start, having an audience now, like God's gonna use this, like you're gonna get all these messages from people that, all this stuff, right? Cool. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Like just one of these things is enough for me for the whole year. And then God just blasts me with one after another after another. And again, the whole time I'm just thinking like, Lord, like, why me? Like, why me? Like, I don't deserve any of this. Like, I fail you every day. Like, why me? And God's just like who else? Like, who else but you? You know what I'm saying? And God really shifted. I'm speaking to someone right now. God really shifted my perspective of him last year. I preached a message last year at the warehouse, and it was about, our DNA and who God's called us to be. And I'm preaching right now. Usually, I try to have fun and everything, and we have a good time, but I feel like just going tonight. So hopefully you're still in with me, guys, because I'm going, right? And again, there might not be a whole lot of people. I don't care about numbers, but I believe people are going to watch this on the replay as well too. They're going to be blessed. But let me share this real quick. I shared this at the warehouse last year when I spoke, and I said, it was about our DNA, right? About our DNA and who God is, right? We're sons, we're daughters of God, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, like the man, like the one, like he's it, right? Like that's who we come from, And I said this, I was like, we got to see ourselves rightly sometimes. Some people, and I get it in a humility aspect. They don't want to they're just like, woe is me. Like, I'm not good enough, all this stuff. Like, I get it. Like, there's a humility part to it, but also like, God thinks you're something. God thinks you're something special. And we're representations of God here on this earth. Like, I want you guys to catch that tonight. It's like so many times people put themselves down, right? But it's like, no, you got to understand that we are representations of God. We are, and I said this and people are going to freak out. I don't care if they clip it or whatever. I'm crazy. Like, we are God here on this earth. I'll say that again for people in the back that missed it and that said, wait a minute, did he say what I think he said? Yes, I did. I said, we are God here on this earth. What do I mean by that? I don't mean we're God Almighty. I'm not saying that we're these perfect beings. No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is we're his representation here on the earth, which means we need to start seeing ourselves in that way. We need to say, if God calls us worthy, then we need to say we're worthy. If God says that we are saved, that we're no longer sinners, and that's who we are. We're redeemed, we're set free. Some people are like, well, they just classify, this is Christians I'm talking about. They just classify themselves as sinners, but it's like, no, like God has not called you to be that anymore. Yes, we sin. Yes, we're not perfect, but the Lord says, be perfect just as I am perfect. What do I mean by that? I shared this one time and I said it like this, that verse, right? It says in the Bible, be perfect just as I am perfect. And I remember one time, like we were talking in the Bible study one time, like, what does that mean? What does that mean? Some people were confused where Jesus said that. I want to pull up that verse real quick, just so you guys can get your daily, well, it's Sunday. Hope you guys went to church and got some word in today. But I want to share this. I want to show you guys this verse real quick. Check this out. It's Matthew 5:48. Matthew 5:48. Matthew 5:48. And it says it like this. It says, therefore you shall be perfect just as your Father is in heaven is perfect. Matthew 5:48. So check this out, right? It literally says right there, but you are to be perfect. Look at the NLT right there. Perfect. Plain English, right? You don't have to confuse it or get, lost in it right there. Matthew 5:48. But you are to be perfect. But you are to be perfect, just as your Father in heaven is perfect. And I remember one time reading that, right? And I'm just like, what does that mean? And the way I can explain it is like this. I work for a company, right? I work for a big company. And let's be honest. I know I know Christians are going to go crazy or whatever. Like, your mouth has power and everything. I get it. Trust me. But hear me out. I know I'm probably never going to be the CEO of that company, right? Like I'm just too busy, right? Like people that climb the ladder, it's because they're putting in extra time and all this stuff. Like I got ministry, we got podcasts going, we got all this stuff. Like I don't have time to just worry about a 9 to 5. Like a lot of people, it's crazy. Is like I see it working a corporate job. That's their goal. Like their goal is to like do that. Why? Because they don't have anything else. They don't have God. They don't have ministry. They're not helping people. It's literally just about themselves. For me, I'm like, I can care less. Yes, I need my job to provide, to have this place, to pay the bills, keep the lights on, keep the live stream going, right? Like I need money to be able to do that, but that's not my goal. And a lot of people that when they don't have God, I notice that they're so big on their career, which is good. We want to bless. If you have a good career as a Christian, amen, because you're gonna be able to bless people. But for me, it's like I don't really care about that stuff, right? So check this out. I'll say it like this. I'm never going to be a CEO of the company I'm working for. Like I'm just not. There's people ahead of me. There's people that have way more experience and everything. I'm not going to probably ever be there. But that doesn't mean that I shouldn't strive every single day in my job to be the best. To climb that ladder, right? To get promoted to a supervisor, a manager, a section manager, and just keep going up the ladder. It doesn't mean that I shouldn't strive for that. So that's the same way this verse it says, right? But you are to be perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. We need to strive for perfection. Strive for perfection. Strive to be perfect. Find out where your flaws are at, where are the things that hold you down. Get those things out of your life. I'm talking spiritually here. Find out where you're lacking it and get it together. Like, be perfect just as your Father in heaven is perfect. So going back to it, right? I was, this last year, I've been really feeling that, like, Lord, you've called me to be perfect. You've called me to be holy, right? Like I'm no longer a sinner anymore. Like, yes, I sin, but I'm trying to be perfect here. And I'll never forget Pastor Tilo one time, he said it like this. Hopefully you guys are still tapped in with me. I know I'm preaching right now, but check this out. Pastor Tilo said it like this one time. He said one time he was in the hood, I guess in Denver, right? And over there in Colorado somewhere when he was growing up. And I think he said something like, there was some guys in his neighborhood that were basically like kind of teasing him because he had just gotten saved, right? He had just got saved and he wasn't hanging around with those guys anymore, right? And then all of a sudden they started like trashing him a little bit, started talking trash, whatever. Like, hey, like, who do you think you are? You think you're perfect? You think you're better than us? Like, you're not hanging out anymore. Like, we don't see you around the block anymore, all this stuff, right? And Pastor Tilo, like, he just got this boldness. He had just gotten saved and everything. And he was like, you know what? You're right. I am better. I'm better than who I was before. I'm better than the things that you guys are doing right now. Like, yeah, I am better. And I'm called to be the head and not the tail. He starts going and starts preaching like crazy. And Pastor Tito was like, dude, like he was telling me, he was like, dude, like we have to let people know, like, this is the way to do it. This is the way to live. Like, we're not trying, I get it. There's a humbleness and there's a time to just, I get that. But there's also a time to let people know, like, we're living the life. This is how you live life. Like, not this other stuff, partying, drinking, going out, doing all this stuff. Like, that stuff's not going to lead you anywhere. You're not going to get any fulfillment. Trust me. I have plenty of people that have come from that lifestyle, that have come to church and they're like, yeah, this is where it's at. This is what I'm called to do. I'm called to pray for people, to see people getting delivered, see people getting set free, like all these things. Like, this is what it's about. Not about that other stuff, not about all that stuff. That stuff does not satisfy you. It's all selfishness. It's all vanity. Like, this is what it's about. It's about helping people, praying for people, ministering to people, seeing people set free. Like, it's about, like, all of us. It's not just about me anymore. So I'll never forget when Pastor Tilo said that. So all this to say, like, what God has just been showing me last year and what I want to preach to you guys and get this message out is, like, you guys are called. Like, you guys are worth it. Like, you guys are the ones to, like, do this thing. Like, you guys never know. Like, some people, God wants you to start a podcast. Some people, like, God wants you to do a clothing brand. I see my boy Brian on here. He's got his clothing brand. I see different people, that are on. And God's called you guys to do things. God's called you guys to start ministries and to serve in churches and just different things that God has called you to do. Do it. Go out. Make it happen. Like, if you don't feel called, that's okay. Like, welcome to the club, because I don't feel called either. But look, we're doing it. We're doing this thing. So, man, I can preach all night. I'm just pumped up, guys. Thank you guys for those that are still on right now. I know we had some issues early on with the sound and all that, and man, we're gonna get that stuff figured out. I promise. But I want to see what you guys are up to. I see Andrea in here, Steph. Yesenia's still on. Thank you guys for all the super chats. Appreciate you guys so much. If you guys don't know, I'm also on the Richie the Barber podcast. We call it We Ain't Clowning. You guys can go check that out on YouTube. Can you guys believe YouTube flagged us? Can I just talk about that for a second? Like, we got flagged on YouTube and we couldn't upload for 3 weeks. And it wasn't because we were talking about anything crazy. I mean, this dude, he gets flagged all the time, always gets strikes from YouTube. Why? Because we're exposing things. We're talking about God. We're talking about Jesus, his testimony, deliverance, all these things, right? And like, YouTube does not like it, which is so crazy because you can go on YouTube, you can see music videos on there, you can see podcasts, you can see so much content on there that should be flagged, that should get a strike, that should be removed, like that's not safe for YouTube, and it's promoted all day long on YouTube. But why? It's because they're from the world. I mean, there's like, I can't even say it. The Alphabet Community, GPS, I call it GPS because that's like the best way to say it, because everything else gets flagged now, even if you say Alphabet, all that stuff. But like, even like the whole GPS community, all that stuff, like, man, you get flagged like all day long for talking about it. But yet on their side, when they start exhibiting themselves and showing stuff and doing stuff, it's like that stuff is encouraged. But yet as soon as we get on as Christians, we start saying, start speaking truth, all of a sudden we get hit with flags and stuff like that. Even on Against the Grain last year, I had Joel Mott on. For those that don't know Joel, he is California Will Be Saved. He shared just a small snippet of something, something that you get right here, right? You guys know what I'm talking about. He just shared a small little thing about it, and boom, that thing got flagged. It's just, they're so quick to take stuff down, but yet all this other trash and this garbage is able just to be posted. So it's crazy. But anyways, all I have to say is, finally that strike we still got the strike, but the ban, the 2 or 3 week ban that we were on got lifted. So we're posting a video tomorrow. So if you guys aren't following, go check out the Richie the Barber podcast. We Ain't Clowning. It's on YouTube, and it's also on Spotify as well too. Also ATG, all these episodes here, all the live streams are also going to be on Spotify and also Apple Music, so you guys can go check that out. And subscribe there. You guys can listen. Today is really just to be able to, a little intro, a little background. It's really the kickoff. I did have a lot of the Gen Z kids in here a couple weeks ago, but that video was just so trash. Not because of them, they were awesome, but just the video was just horrible, it was lagging. But thank God for all of you guys that have given. I want to say that one more time if you're just jumping on right now. All of you guys that gave that into the computer that I got, it looks like it's working pretty well. You guys can see me pretty well, and it's only going to get better as we start getting better with some of the settings and stuff like that. From basically what to expect from this channel going forward, we're gonna have guests on. I got some guests coming next week. Basically every week from now on, we're gonna always have guests here. We're gonna go and get into some topics, get into some things, and you guys are gonna be able just to. I believe you guys are gonna get blessed. We're gonna do a lot of clips as well too. We're gonna clip some of this stuff, throw it on Instagram, YouTube, all of that. So it's gonna be really, really good. If you guys are looking for a church, I gotta plug in my church real quick. If you guys are looking for a church, you guys can check us out at Harvest Time Church in the city of Ontario. We're in California, in Southern California. We're about I don't know, maybe like 30 minutes on a good day outside of LA. So you guys can go check us out. I'm going to throw us up right now. You guys can go check us out on Instagram. It's Harvest Time ONT. That's short for Ontario. So Harvest Time ONT. You guys can go check us out on Instagram. Go follow us. We got some amazing stuff coming up. I just want to share real quick. We got Matt Cruz coming in 2 weeks. He's going to be sharing. My boy Matt, he's awesome. We're going to have to get him in here to do a pod with me. Man, that guy's hilarious. But also anointed, amazing young man of God. That dude, I feel like for a while, he was like my brother, because he was when I was with my parents still living there, like he was there for at least like 2 weeks, I think, just like sleeping in the living room, and we'd see each other in our pajamas and stuff. Like, it was just good times. So Matt Cruz is coming in a couple weeks, and we got some other stuff planned. I'm not going to share too much, but we're working on a conference right now. I'm just going to say it like that. We're working on a conference coming. We got prayer nights in 2 weeks. We're doing we're doing like a missionary trip we're working on right now in the background too. I can't say much, but trust me, we got some stuff going on. If you are a young adult and you're in the LA, IE, OC area, come and hang out with us. We're going to have an event in 2 weeks. It's the last Friday of the month. You guys can follow our page and we're going to post more information there on what we're going to do. But I encourage you guys, I always want to plug in our church because there's people out there that are looking for a community, looking for answers. We love to worship, connect. We're all about the word. My dad would get up there and start preaching. It's amazing. I really encourage you guys to come check us out if you're looking for a church, or if you just want to come hang out with us on a Thursday night. A lot of people have churches Sunday and Wednesday. So if you guys need a place to come on Thursdays, come out and hang out with us. Come worship with us. But again, that's Harvest Time ONT on Instagram. We're also on YouTube as well too, Harvest Time Church. You guys can search that. Just look for our logo. We got worship going and all that stuff. Let me go ahead and take a look at some of the chat here. We got E-Man. We got E-Man back. What's up, E-Man? Hope you're doing well, bro. For those that don't know E-Man, we go way, way back. I shared a couple stories on the Richie the Barber podcast on We Ain't Clowning about how we just did some crazy stuff when we were younger. So E-Man, what's up, bro? Yeah, I got the djembe in the back. For those that are questioning about what that is back there, that's actually a hand drum. So it's like originated, I believe, in Africa, but it's really cool. We use it. Don't worry, it's not witchcraft. We prayed over it. Everything's good. It's not about that. Like, not everything's a demon, guys. Come on, can I get an amen? But no, that thing's like a hand drum. It sounds so good. Like the middle's nice and bassy. And the end, you slap that thing. That thing's just like a nice high snare sound. It's pretty cool. I got the guitars back there. For those that don't know, I also play drums too. So anyways, we got a lot of stuff going on. I wanted to get into some things really quickly, and then we're going to see where it goes. We're approaching 7 o'clock again. Thank you guys for staying on. If you guys don't know, we had some issues early on with the audio and everything like that. But it looks like we are good now. And I'm going to work on some more stuff, guys. So hopefully a lot of this stuff doesn't happen anymore. But you guys know sometimes, man, we just have some issues sometimes. It is what it is. I just wanted to share on some stuff real quick, though. I'm going to pull this up here in a second. I feel like I just want to share this really quickly. Someone recently, we're on, people, I get messages a lot and I see, a lot of comments on Richie's channel and everything like that. Again, for those that don't know, we're on there and I, been helping co-host. And that was another part of 2023. Richie hit me up and was like, hey man, and I'll just share on that real quick. Right. So Richie hit me up like in, I don't know if it was like September, October, somewhere around there. I can't remember the dates. But anyways, towards that time, right? Richie hit me up and was like, bro, look, you and I have great chemistry on camera. It's been so amazing at all the times that I've gone to ATG, I've gone to your church, so much. And he shared this already, so I'm not saying anything that he hasn't said, but he was like, dude, I'm doing my podcast right now, but it's not of God. At the time, he had this guy named Chris, camera guy. He had him on there. And yeah, I'm going to talk about it for a little bit. He had a guy named Chris, camera guy on there. And dude, let's just be honest. This dude, Chris, was pretty disrespectful at times. Richie would just, he's talking about something of God, whatever. And then this dude, Chris, would just ask him something off the wall and just my thing is this, right? Okay, let's say you're trying to get sober and you're trying to get clean. And then you have a friend that's constantly hey, you want to come drink? Hey, well, hey, smell this, or hey, let's say you're trying to get sober, you're trying to stop smoking or something. This dude always comes over and brings it up, and it's just it's disrespectful. It's dude, you're not respecting me. I'm trying to get clean. I'm trying to get sober, and you're over here throwing this stuff in my face. You're actually disrespecting me. For me, I would take that personal. I know I'm kind of crazy, but for me, that's personal for me. If that was me and I'm trying to get clean or whatever, and I got some guy doing that and kind of egging me on and stuff, trying to make me go back to that thing I just left, can I get an amen? I'll kind of be in their face a little bit. I'll be honest, I'll kind of be in their face dude, are you kidding me? Are you trying, what are you trying to do right here? Are you really a friend here? Are you really an op? Dude, I'm trying to change my life and you're trying to bring me back? That's the most disrespectful thing ever, right? So anyways, that's kind of the same thing actually that was happening on Richie's podcast. If you don't believe me, go watch some of the old episodes. Richie's talking about God, talking about changing, and Chris comes off the wall stuff about, I don't know, some crazy stuff or crazy questions of like straight up like worldly stuff. And I get it, Chris isn't saved or anything like that, but still, it's just like, dude, what are you doing, you know? And so anyways, Richie's podcast was just like, it was a battle. Like you could just see it, like visibly see it in the spirit. Like if you know, it was like a war, like on cam, like you got what good and you got light. Like it's just crazy. And so finally Richie was like, you know what? It's not of God. Like there's some other stuff that was happening as well too between them. And Richie was just like, dude, I'm going to separate myself from him. And that's big because their channel blew up. I mean, on Richie's channel right now, we have 190,000 subscribers. That's a lot of people. And he just started, I think when he started, it was like, he only had like 10,000 at the time. So his channel grew crazy. All these people came because of this show that they had. And all of a sudden, it was just like, Richie's just going to stop and Richie's just going to like basically separate himself from this dude. So it was huge news. And I knew coming, and then Richie's like, bro, there's no one else that I would rather have than you. And when he said that, I was just like, dude, so humbled. And again, this is 2023. I'm talking about last year. Like God's still doing stuff last year. I haven't even shared everything that's happened in 2023. So that's another thing, right? Like in October, November, I get that. Or I think it was like October. All of a sudden, Richie's just like, I'm inviting you on as a co-host. And I'm like, dude, what? Like, I'm still trying to focus on this podcast here, like on the interviews, everything that's happening. Now, all of a sudden, I'm going to go on a channel with 190,000 people. And his, you know, I've seen the stuff in his comments. All of a sudden, I know what I'm going to be exposed to. I know what people are going to say. There's worldly people that are subscribed because they want to hear that junk, you know. And so I'm just thinking, dude, like, should I do this? And I felt at peace about it. Talked, you know, to my parents. Talked to Andrea, and I was just like, all right, like let's do this, you know. And so anyways, like that just completely took off, and now we're getting comments. Like a lot of the people early on were just like, where's Chris? Like this show sucks. And it's like, dude, if you guys have any problems, you guys can hit the road, unsubscribe. We're fine with it. We're here. We're turning this thing around. This thing was about all this other junk before. Now it's about reaching people. It's about getting people set free, delivered. We're about spreading the gospel now. Like that's what we're doing. So it's been amazing. But anyways, all I have to say is, going back is, I'll remember one of the comments, they had a question. I thought it was really good. It says something like, how do you know that you guys are right? Like there's so many religions out there. There's so many paths out there that people are on. I mean, if you really think about it, there's so many paths to follow out there. Some people are atheists. Some people believe that there is a higher power, but they don't believe that it's God or anyone specific. They don't know what it is. So there's those people. You got people that are, of course, every other religion, Buddha, Hindu, they're Buddhist, they believe in, they're Hindu, they're just so many different ones, like even Catholicism, you know. I remember had someone from the Catholic Church on the podcast. Well, too, go check that out. She's amazing though. She's a spirit-filled Catholic. So that was a really, really good podcast. I really enjoyed that conversation. But there's Catholics out there. There's who else? I could think of so many other religions out there, like Mormons, Jehovah's Witness. There's so many channels. And the question was, how do you guys know that you guys are right? And then more specifically, this person said, okay, how do you know that you guys are also the right denomination? And I thought that was really big. I was like, oh, you're getting somewhere, because the denomination thing is huge. The denomination is like, what do you guys believe in? Like, we believe in speaking in tongues. We believe in deliverances for today. We're about, worshiping God, about seeing people set free, delivered. We're about, seeing people like experience the power of the Holy Spirit like today. Like we don't believe the gifts have stopped. So we're about all of it. Like we're about it over here. And so there was that question too. Like, how do you guys know you guys are believing the right thing? And it just got me thinking. I think about this a lot. And my thing is this. So if you're watching this, you guys have questions. Like I said, maybe people are watching on the replay. And my thing is this. You got to seek it for yourself. There's nothing that I can sit back here and just try to prove to you that God is real. There's no way I can just sit back here, because at the end of the day, it's my experience. It's the things that I've seen. It's the things that I've experienced, that I've seen, that I've witnessed, that's happened to me, my friends, and it's like, I can go show you right now a group of people that aren't saved. And we'll ask every single one of them, hey, are you depressed? Hey, are you suicidal? Do you have anxiety? You struggle? Do you have drama at home? Do you have drama in your relationships? Do you have toxic relationships with your significant other? Do you drink too much? Do you get high too much? Do you have no money because you keep spending and you're having issues with gambling? Do you have some STDs that you got to go to the doctor for? Do you have some plan Bs that you got to take? Did you just have an abortion a couple weeks ago? Like, come on, I'm preaching tonight. Like, there's things that I can get a group of people that are not saved that are dealing with all those things, and it's on the regular. Everyone's dealing with stuff like that. And I can get you a group in my church. I can pull 10 young adults right now. Give me my phone. I'll call them right now. I can pull 10 random young adults and be like, what are you going through? You feel like you're free? You feel like you're saved, delivered? You got joy in your life? You have purpose back in your life? And they're all going to tell me yes. They're going to be screaming, shouting, jumping up and down, excited to be where they're at today, completely changed, set free. They threw all their pebbles away, all their little crystals that don't do anything. Like all this stuff. Like, I'm telling you, like, you got to experience it for yourself. You got to experience it for yourself. And all these other religions that are out there, I don't see this type of fruit from people like that. I just don't. I don't see it. You know, I have family that's Catholic. I have family that's in other, that believes other things. And show me their fruit. Show me their fruit. Go to their churches and show me the things that I'm seeing in my church. And I'm not saying, let me say this really clear. I'm not saying that our church is the best. I'm not here saying that our church is I don't know, like, we're not some sort of cult here that's saying we're the only ones that got it. No, there's other churches that are out there that are on board and on the same page as us, right? But going back to it, like, it's all about the fruit. It's all about the fruit. And so my thing is, okay, that's for Christianity. But now looking into, okay, well, there's a lot of Christian churches out there. Which one do we go to? This is how I put it. For me, we're not limiting God around here. I see a lot of churches that I know, maybe we've gone visited, people that I know, whatever, like there's a limit that they place on God. There's a limit about the time that God, that God can move in worship. There's a limit to, how many times they have, altar calls. There's a limit to how much they can pray. There's a limit to how much this or that. And we're not putting limits over here. Now, at the same time, let me be very, very clear. We're not the church that's going to do a 5-hour service. I'm sorry. Let me just say that right now. We're not a church over here that's going to do a 5-hour service. Okay. We might do a 2-hour service, maybe 2.5, push it on a good day, but we're not doing no 5-hour service over here, right? Like, we believe there's order and there's, come on, people want to get some food, after church, like, give them a chance to go, like, we're not doing all that, right? But we're not here limiting God. We're doing an hour worship on a Sunday, Pastors preaching sometimes for an hour 15 sometimes, on a Thursday, we might go 45 minutes for worship, right? Just because it's a Thursday and people got to sleep, right? Like, we're respectful, we respect our time, and that's a big but, we're not here to limit God. We're not here to tell God, you only get 10 minutes for worship. You only get 2 songs. And that might sound pretty fun. My dad says you only get, some church like 2.5 songs. And it's kind of funny, but it's so true. There's churches like that. Like, you get 15 minutes for worship. You get 10, give me 2 songs for worship, 1 song for worship, and it's just like, for us, we can't, I don't know. We just want more. We just want more over here. And I don't know if it's just because we're Hispanic. I don't know. It's because we're from, where we're from here, but like, we don't want a boring church. Like, our parties in the world are more like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're crazy, like, till 2-3 in the morning, bumping music, bumping Spanish music. We want to dance and party and do all that stuff. And then we come to church and it's just like, we just want a 30-minute service, But yeah, we go watch a rated R movie and for 2 hours and we don't go pee 1 time. Like, come on, like, I'm preaching to somebody around here. Like, you can go to a rated R movie, which you probably shouldn't even be watching anyways. You can go to a rated R movie at the movie theater and not get up out of your seat 1 time. But yeah, you want a 30-minute church service. Like, it's not going to happen. So anyways, all I'm trying to say here is that specifically what we believe in at Harvest Time, what I believe in, what my friends, family, everyone that's around, what we believe in is just like, we're not here to limit God. So whatever that places us in, whether we're non-denominational, whether we're charismatic, we're this, we're that. Look, you can label us what you want, but we're not limiting God over here. Last Thursday, we shared about deliverance. We didn't even. My dad barely was even talking about it. All of a sudden, towards the end, all of a sudden, a woman, like I think 2 or 3 people actually got delivered last week at service on a Thursday night. Like this woman was manifesting demons. Like she had some skulls or like some satanic witchcraft stuff, like bracelets and rings and all that stuff. She was getting delivered from that stuff. Like it was wild. This is like a Thursday night, right? So we see that. We see people speaking in tongues during worship, just all these things. Like, so going back to it, like we're not here to limit God. So going back to my original topic was like, how do you guys know that you guys are the right ones, or you guys are the ones that are telling the truth? And my thing is just like, you got to experience it. And if your church is just like a cute little church and it's just always put together and it's just like a little show, and everything's always structured, and every week what time worship ends, and every week what time the church service closes, and it's stuff like that, it's just like you got to question it, like are you really getting the fullness of God? Like you can call it what you want, but for us, we want it all. Like as Christians over here, like we want it all. We want to see everything, like everything that God has. We want to see it. We want to take part in it, because we're not trying to serve a boring God. Can I share that with somebody? We're not trying to serve a boring God. And I remember I've said this before too. It's like, if the world changes quicker and adapts quicker than the church becomes obsolete. And we've seen this before. We've seen churches, we've been part of churches like this, where the world changes quicker than the church does, and the church gets left in the dust. The church gets left in the dust because the world changes, culture changes. You got young adults, you got, all these different, these kids coming in, and all of a sudden it's just like the world's changing out there for them. But the church stays the same, powerless, no anointing, no demonstration of the Holy Spirit, no demonstration of power, no demonstration of miracles, of signs and wonders. There's none of that. It's just super dry and just it's just basic. And a lot of people freak out about that because they're like, how can you call the church basic? But it is what it is. Like if it's just very just dry, I mean, these kids, the young adults, the new generation, they're attracted to the world because of that, because the world's already going into AI. It's already going into the Oculus and the metaverse and all these things, and they're on social media. They're seeing everything on social media. They're seeing graphics, seeing creativity, and their video games. And then you come to church and it's just like the same songs from 1970. And we've seen some of those songs too, HCC. Don't get me wrong. We might throw one in every now and then, but they're doing the same thing. They're reading out of hymn books. They barely have, they barely figure out how to turn on a projector and get some lyrics, on the screen. It's like we're already doing crazy stuff with LED walls and, all this different stuff that different churches are doing. Like technology's changed. Like people have to keep up. So going back to it, it's just like, let me say it like this, like, when it comes to the church, like and it's not that we have to follow the world, but we have to adapt. We have to change. We have to demonstrate power. So that's us as a church, and how we move is just like, we want to demonstrate those things. We want to demonstrate the Holy Spirit and the anointing and the gifts, not to put on a show, but to show people like, there's power here. There's something exciting that's happening here. I believe Christianity is not supposed to be a boring thing that we've made it out to. A lot of people have made out Christianity to be something super boring and super basic, but we're not called to do anything like that here. Like we're called to be exciting. Like when you get saved, when you come to Christ, it's exciting. Like you're a brand new person. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I can go on and on. I can preach all night. But thank you guys again. All of you guys are jumping on right now. I appreciate all of you guys. We're going to keep these live streams going every Sunday night at 6 p.m. I believe this is going to grow. Again, we might see a couple numbers right now on the live, but I believe people are going to watch this on the replay. People are going to share this. If you guys are watching right now, if you guys are logged in, can you guys all do me a favor and drop $50? No, I'm joking. Can you guys all drop a like on this video? It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. Just drop a like on this video. That's going to help this video. It's going to help the algorithm going. And all of you guys that have dropped super chats tonight, thank you guys so much. I appreciate all of you guys, honestly, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you guys. All of your super chats. Appreciate you so much. It really means a lot. I really see this channel taking off. I see these live streams taking off. We're going to start talking about some other things coming up. We're going to get into deliverance. We're going to get into prophecy. We're going to get into some scripture. And my thing is to keep it fresh, to keep it entertaining. I want to connect with you guys, chat with you guys. We're going to pull up stuff that's happening, current events. This is just the kickoff. That's what this channel, this first episode is, just the kickoff, just to make sure things are working well. As you guys can tell, we had some issues with the audio early on. I appreciate all you guys for sticking around, but this is just the kickoff for us to start, and God's going to do so much more. I'm believing it. And my thing is this, is like, I really feel like I was made for this, and not to sound cocky or anything, but like, God is really giving me this. So I know what's going to happen. So I want to encourage you guys to come along with me, because I believe this is going somewhere. Because I know once God is behind something, like, you have no clue. Like, you have no clue what's going to happen. So again, we're going to have guests on next week, and the week after, and the week after, and the week after that. It's going to be so good. I'm so excited this month. We got a lot of stuff happening. I'm still filming with Richie every week as well too. So we got the podcast going there. Go check that out on the Richie the Barber channel. We got the podcast dropping every Monday morning at 8:30. And then we're actually going to Vegas. We are going to Vegas this month. I know people are going to freak out about that, but we actually went to a men's conference. Our church, we went to a men's conference last year, and that was so amazing. We went to a men's conference, and I remember one time we announced it at the church, right? We're like, we're going to do a men's conference. We're going to a men's conference in Vegas at the convention center there. One of the schools that they had there, whatever. One of the colleges had a big stadium thing inside, had a big auditorium, and we were telling our women, like, we're going to Vegas, and they're just like, out of all places, why are you guys going to Vegas? But we had such an amazing time. So my thing is, like, a Christian, like, you also got to be called, right? But like, we're not scared of places. We're not scared of Sin City, any of that. But Richie, he ended up, we have a Airbnb over there. There's a pool. So I don't know about, I'm thinking people are going to get baptized there. Some of the guys going, I don't know what to expect. It's going to be so good, but we're heading to Vegas. Richie's getting married as well too, and be a part of his wedding. And then Andrea, as you guys know, she is pregnant. Thank you, God, for that. So excited for that. She's pregnant right now. So our baby's due in March. But as you guys know, sometimes those babies are just ready to come out. She's ready to come out and change the world. That girl's going to be, I can't even imagine. She's going to be a world shaker for sure. I'm sure every parent says that. But like, our daughter, she really is not going to have a choice. Like, we're all in ministry. We're all doing this thing. Like, she's got to, that's enough. Can I just share? Oh man, I feel the Holy Spirit on this one. Can I just talk to some parents right now? I can't wait to be a parent, because let me say it like this, right? For so long, I'm just going to say it like this. For so long, I've heard so many people tell me, hey, you can't address parents. You can't say anything about parents because you're not a parent. They would tell me that so often. Like, you can't talk to parents. You can't tell parents anything because you're not a parent. And I thought, okay. And I remember in my head, like, okay, but one day I'm going to be a parent. One day. And the day has finally come. Oh my God, I feel the Holy Spirit in here. The day has finally come that I'm going to be a father. So you parents, get ready for me to start speaking, because they said once you can't talk unless you're a parent. So now I'm becoming a parent, and the game is on. Like, it is on. We are going for it. But let me say it like this, and I just brought that up because of this, and I'm joking, but honestly though, like, I say it like this, is that I'll never forget, Bishop Bill Hammond came to our church, and he said this. He said, parents, he goes, bring your kids to church. Raise your kids in church. They don't have an option. If they're under 18, if they're living under your roof and you're providing them in any sort of way, they don't have an option. They're coming to church with you. And he said it like this. I'll never forget. I was like, ooh, Bishop Bill Hammond's fire. He's like 90 years old, like an old white man. Like, let me tell you this. And he's like, the way he talks crazy. Like, but he's 90 years old preaching. He said it like this. He's like, you tell your kids what to eat, right? Like if you think about it, like if the kids are only eating cereal or only eating like candy all day, like the parents are gonna tell them something like, hey, you have to eat real food or you have to eat, right? Like parents will do that. He goes, parents, you tell them what to eat. Parents, you tell them that they have to go to school. Like you wake them up for school, you make them go, right? Like you drop them off, or I don't know if people still take the bus, I don't know, right? But like you take your kids to school, you make them go to school, you tell them what to eat, you tell them what time to go to bed, or you know, they have to wake up at a certain time. But yet when it comes to church, yet when it comes to things of God or raising them, you know, in Christianity, you have a hands-off approach, and he's like, and you guys say, the parents say stuff like, oh, well, God will deal with him, well, God will do it and everything. And Bishop Ahem was just like, nope, negative, it's not happening. Parents, you have to get your kids to church. Parents, you have to get your kids plugged in. Of course, no kid's gonna want to get up on a Sunday to come to church. While some kids might will. I know some kids in our church that are fire, you know, they love coming to church, but you know, some kids, they don't want to go to church, right? But like, you don't have an option. Like if you're under this house, like if I'm providing you in any sort of way, like you're coming to church with me. Like you don't have an option. Like, well, this is what we're doing, right? So I say that the only reason why I bring that up is because, you know, now I'm gonna be a father, I'm gonna have a daughter. I said earlier, like she's gonna have no choice. Like she's gonna be raised in God. She's gonna be a world shaker, like for real. I think she's gonna be for sure in some sort of worship. I'm praying that will be able to sing like her mom, but maybe I don't know, if she can't sing, at least she's gonna play an instrument or something. She's gonna serve somewhere. She's gonna do something, right? But I'm so excited for that. Andrea's due in March. And I'm ready. At any point, basically, they said the baby can come. Some people even have you know, them as early as like right now, you know, and you know, it's early, a little early or whatever, but you know, they ended up being okay after. Just, you know, they got to stay at the hospital a little longer as they grow a little bit and get their nutrients in. And, you know, sometimes there's complications, but for the most part, like basically from here, anytime forward, they can, you know, they're pretty okay. But anyways, at that point, we're kind of just ready. You know, she's due in March, but who knows? Anything can happen at this point. So we got our baby shower coming up. So many people have blessed us, guys. So many people have blessed us from our church. I'm so thankful. All of you guys that are in the comments right now, you got mostly, I say like 90% of you guys all go to our church. So I just want to say thank you guys for all your support, all the baby gifts. We haven't even had our baby shower yet. All of you guys have been giving gifts to us, have been sending us Amazon stuff, have our whole room right now. Like we have a whole room for her, and her whole room is filled with stuff. And we haven't even had the baby shower yet. So I'm excited. I'm so pumped for this year. And you know, I shared this was like, ever since Andrea and I got married, every year was something. We had gone through some issue. Like in 2015, we get married, right? In 2016, in May, her cousin Daisy, who was a worship leader on our worship team in our church, one of the couple first few people that were coming to church. I don't think she wasn't there the original 8 that we started in my living room, but once we started the church, she was the one that was coming a lot, and early on, as well as her mom. She died on the way back from Mexico. She was a missionary in Mexico. She died on the way back on the freeway. I think it was like I don't know if it was the 10 or the 210 or 215, somewhere over there. They pulled over and some guy came and just plowed the back of her car, and her mother basically died at the scene there. And that was rough for us. That was the first time we ever experienced anything like that. That was 2016. We had 2 people from our church, but not only that, but they were family. They were Andrea's family, super close to us, part of our church. I mean, we led worship with Daisy. We traveled with her. We did all these amazing things with her. We have so many amazing memories with her. And she passed away. That was 2016. I'll never forget, 2017, fast forward to 2017 after that. I remember my friend E-Man, I think he's on here. He got hit by an 18-wheeler. He got ran over like twice by an 18-wheeler on his motorcycle. Like, I'll never forget, like, I just got my bike, like literally just got my bike, like for real. Like, he had just went with me to pick up my motorcycle over here in Ontario, right? Like, I remember buying it. He drove it home for me because I still had to learn. We went to Royal Oak Middle School, and we were practicing in the parking lot. And I don't even think we got to ride with each other yet. I think we I think it was like we rode maybe once, I think. One time probably, like barely. And all of a sudden, like I'm barely still, like I said, learning how to ride. And I jump on my bike, I get to my parents, and they break the news to me, like right then and there, right when I go to their house. They're like, E-Man had a motorcycle accident. Like, we got to get to, I think it was Cedar Sinai, I think that we were at, or I think it was Cedar Sinai in LA. And they're like, he got hit by an 18-wheeler. Like, we don't know what's going on. Like, it's critical. And I remember going over there. Then I remember, even taking the day off of work the following, I think, day or two. I was at the hospital, and just being there for that day or 2 days that I was there. And I remember walking, during I remember walking, for lunch. I walked to a Taco Bell right there by the hospital, and I was walking. And I was just like, Lord, like, am I really gonna lose my friend? Like this has barely been a year since like Daisy and her mom died, and sure enough, thank the Lord that he was able to recover, and he was able to walk again, and for a while he's in a wheelchair, then crutches, and now he was able to walk again, which was such a blessing. He's still here, still able to walk, and I know he has some aches and pains still, and it's not easy, but he's alive, he's alive, and he's still, I saw him, recently at the church, and everything. So it's been amazing. That was 2017. Fast forward to 2018, we find out Robbie, on our team, he was our bass player, one of my best friends. He came to church and I remember I posted it when we started the Bible study. He we were part of a car club, right? Like a club sounds funny, like we're like a lowrider club, but it was basically like a crew almost, right? Like we had all BMWs, and we'd meet up in Walnut, and we'd hang out, and I met, we had older BMWs. It was like a crew of like older BMWs that would meet up. It was so sick. And I met Robbie there, and I followed him. We had followed each other on Facebook. He started seeing that I was posting about our Bible study that we had, and I didn't even know he was a Christian at the time. And he's an undercover Christian, right? And like most people in churches, let's be honest. So, anyways, he ends up coming to our church, gets saved, fully commits his life, changes his life around, gets on fire for God, starts playing bass, and he was our bass player. Like, we were all on the worship team. Like, Daisy was on our worship team. E-Man was on our worship team playing keyboard. Robbie's on our worship team playing bass. And all of a sudden, in 2018, we find out Robbie gets diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And again, I started thinking, like, Lord, like, what's happening? Like, what is happening? Like, it's like every year something's crazy is happening. Like, God, really? I remember in 2017 as well, too, my grandma passed away. She passed away in January. I believe it was January. I know it was January, but I'm trying to remember if it was 17 or 18. I believe it was 2017. My grandma passed away, and I saw her, and I was in the room with her as she took her last breath, So there was that. So I was just dealing with so much, year after year since we got married. I'm telling you, we're going through things. We're going through issues. And this is not even telling you guys about all the little church drama and all the little stuff that's happening in between then. These are the big things, right? 2018, Robbie gets diagnosed with cancer, right? And he's like, look, dude, I'm going to fight it. I'm going to try my best. I'm going to keep being strong. And all through that whole time, he's just having surgeries and appointments and good news and bad news and getting better and getting worse and going to the hospital and just all these things he's going through, right? He's still alive, still going. 2019 comes, he's still there. In 2019, we find out, early 2019, I think it was like December. I think it was like January 2019. I think it might have been December of 2018. Andrea's sister, Amy, gets diagnosed stage 4 cancer, breast cancer. And I'm just like, Lord, what is happening? And this whole time after this, we're trying to have a baby as well, too. Hopefully you guys remember that. We're trying to have a baby here at this time. So like we're trying to do that. We're not seeing the baby come. We're not seeing the promises. People are getting sick. Things are happening. 2019 comes. Andrea's sister gets diagnosed with this stuff. She passes away in July of 2019. Like within 5 months of her getting diagnosed, she's gone. And I'm just like, Lord, like, can we just get a break? Lord, can we just get a break? Like, we're going through so much stuff. I'm literally praying with my wife every night that she doesn't lose her belief in God. Like, she shared this already. Like, she's getting to the point where she's questioning God. Like, is there even a God at this point? Like, is God even real at this point? We're serving him every week. We're doing all this stuff, and all this stuff is happening. Like, is this God thing even real? Like, can I be honest with someone tonight? Like, is God even real at this point? All this stuff's happening to us. What the heck is going on? She loses her sister, and Andrea's to the point where, like, I just don't know if I can believe in God anymore. She gets to the point where she's like, I don't even know if I can lead worship anymore. I don't know what's going on. I don't really feel like going to church right now. I don't know what's going on. And then the whole time, I'm just going through so much. I'm just like, and remember, I'm working full time still. I'm not trying to paint this whole sob story. I'm trying to get you guys to get the picture of what's going on. In 2020, we're barely recovering from her sister's death. And 2020 hits. You guys know what happened in 2020. I can't even say it now because I already know we're going to get flagged. Something happens in 2020, and all of a sudden, the church just goes crazy, and not in a good way. People start tripping. Mask, no mask, this, no, can we get it? You shouldn't get it. Those that got it are demonic. Those that haven't got it don't care about people. I mean, I'm talking just our church just went crazy. We jump on live stream because we don't have a building at the time we're renting. So the people that we're renting from, they're like, we're closing it down. Everyone's getting sick. So we got the live stream going, and people are starting to sign on. People are hanging out with us. But some people in our church aren't even feeling it. They're not even logging onto the live stream. They're not supporting. They're not doing any of that stuff. It felt like our church just got like ripped out from under us. And in 2019, at the end of 2019, God started moving in our church. We started seeing revival. We started seeing things happening. We were growing. And all of a sudden just felt like, okay, we're getting somewhere. We're trying to work through these things. Bam, 2020 hits. Takes us out. We're like, nope, we're going to keep going. We don't care what's happening. We don't care about who has attitude or who doesn't like it. We're going to keep going. All of a sudden, people start dropping off from our church. People start leaving our church. People start talking about us. People start having issues. Things start getting exposed in 2020. Some things behind the scenes start getting exposed in 2020 of people in our church, people in staff, people in leadership, members. People start getting pregnant in 2020. People start getting this and that. And all these things start happening. And I'm just like, God, when can I get a break? So much is happening. And Andrea and I are leaders at this time. We're leading our ministry. We're leading our teams. And our teams are just going crazy. 2021 hits and Robbie passes away early 2021. He fought cancer for as long as he could. Strong. Oh my gosh. I remember, can I just talk about him for a second here? I remember him, playing bass up on stage, and he's feeling so sick. I mean, he has a pack. I don't know if it was a radiation pack or a chemo pack. I mean, forgive me for not knowing the specifics, but he had some sort of box that he had that's pumping him. I think it was chemo. I believe it might have been chemo because radiation is something, like a machine, I'm guessing. But like, I think it was like a chemo machine or something that would pump him of this stuff while he's on stage playing bass. There's times that he would get so weak that he'd have to sit down, but he's like, I want to keep playing. I want to keep serving. I'll never forget one of the last times that he served with us. We did at Cynthia's house in her backyard in October of 2020. In her backyard, overlooking the whole city. We did a worship night. He was so sick that night and could barely even get there. Felt so sick. And then the next day we did a live recording in LA at a warehouse, and he made it. And that was the last time that we worshiped together. And he passes away in 2021. And that was rough. That was rough. I mean, think about what's happening to our team here. All these people are passing away. So 2020 was rough. We're trying to get the church back. We kind of start opening up. We start opening up again. And then towards the end of 2021, boom, we get shut down again. The numbers are going up. We got to go back on live stream. So fine, we go back on live stream. 2022, January, I get a phone call from my friend Ephraim. Hey, have you talked to Rick recently? And Rick was another part of our, he was a part of our church and led on our worship team. He was a staff on our worship team. He did sound early on. He also played trumpet and played some percussion as well too, and just auxiliary instruments and stuff, shakers and everything. He was just just a big blessing, just a servant all the way around. Just loved to serve. and just he loved my parents, loved my dad as a pastor. And so anyways, in 2022, I get a phone call in January from my friend Ephraim. Remember, I'll never forget, I'm working Uber Eats at the time in LA, downtown. I get a phone call from him on a Friday night. Hey, have you heard from Rick recently? Because Rick had gotten sick with, the sickness. I'll say it like that. He had gotten sick with it, but he was recovering already. He was already negative, but he was still feeling the effects of it. And he had some other health stuff that was going on already. So Ephraim hits me up, hey, we talked to Rick. And I was like, dude, actually, it's been about a week or two that I've talked to him. Let me hit him up, actually. At the time, we're in quarantine because we're not seeing each other at this time, right? Because everyone's getting sick again. So I hit up Rick that Friday night. Hey, Rick, how's it going? Send him a text. How's it going, dude? How's everything? It's been a while. And he hits me back like, dude, I'm still feeling out of it. I'm doing okay, but still not feeling too well. That was Friday night, and I still have the text message. Saturday morning, I get a text on my phone early morning, like 6, 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning, right? It wakes me up, and I get a text from his roommate, which is actually Robbie's uncle. That he owned the house, he lived in the house, and Rick rented a room from him, so they lived together, basically. Robbie's uncle sends me a text. Hey, I found Rick Medina. I found him dead at the house here. And I remember just reading that, just opening up my phone and reading that so early in the morning. And I'm just like, what? Part of me didn't want to believe it because I'm like, I just talked to him last night. I just talked to him. He said he was doing okay. He was feeling a little weak or whatever. But I just talked to him. Like, what? And I'm barely waking up and I'm like, I see it. I literally put my phone down for a minute and I just kind of lay back and I'm just like, nah. Like for some reason, I was just like, I don't believe it. Cause like, I just talked to him last night. Like he's good. Like you're tripping. You didn't find him dead. Like I just talked to him. And I call him right away and I'm like, what? Like I just talked to him and he goes, yeah, I found him. Like the coroner's here right now and they're taking him. Like he's gone. And I'm just like, Lord. And then at this point, it really sinks in. And it's not about me, but I was just thinking about it like, Lord, what is this year after year stuff that we're going through? Like what? Like January just started and we're going through this again. I'm telling you, every year we're receiving some sort of crazy news. There's some sort of stuff happening. And that's life, people. Life happens, right? Doesn't matter if you're Christian, saved, not saved. Life happens. So 2022 was just kind of a blur. There was a lot of stuff happening. We got the warehouse. All of a sudden we reopened and things started going back to normal and things started happening. And at the end of 2022, we started having worship nights and things were happening. And all of a sudden 2023 hits. And like I shared earlier, all these amazing things happen. And I'm going to end the stream here in a second here. And I want to end it with this, that the Lord restores everything in your life. Now, he doesn't bring back people. Sometimes people are going to come back from the dead, which I do believe can happen. And there's times where I've heard of testimonies, all these things. People have been raised from the dead, but I'm saying, right now, I don't, Daisy hasn't risen from the dead, or Robbie, or, I think, I don't know, I won't share too much, but I know some people have been cremated, and they're in ashes now, which is, it's a beautiful thing. Some people are against whatever. I don't care, whatever. But for me, it's kind of beautiful to think like, it's kind of beautiful in a crazy way because you're just like, we're here in human form, right? Like this, we're a shell. And to think like one day we're going to be reduced to ashes. Like it just puts a reality of just like, this is really nothing. Like, what are we concerned about here? Like this is going to be dust one day. What's really going to matter is our soul, like where we're going to spend eternity, right? You know what I'm saying? So anyways, let me share like this, like this year or in 2023, I was just like, Lord, like you restore all things. You've restored all things. We have an amazing church. We have an amazing worship team. We have leaders and staff that are amazing, that are honoring, that are about this. We're all running the race together. No one's leaving each other behind. No one's starting this drama or doing this or saying that. There's no more gossip. And we're not a perfect church, mind you, but like whenever we're seeing stuff like this starting to pop off, we're quick to cut it off. And sometimes people feel that, where all of a sudden we see somebody and they're trying to start some drama or trying to start something or some issues are happening. We're quick to cut it off because we're just like, nope, I already saw you. Like it might be a new person and they're already trying. And I'm like, I already know you. I already saw you in 2020. I already saw you in 2020. Like I already know you. And they're just like, what? Like, like, and I'm not never saying it to their face, but like, I'll see some people say, I already know you. I already saw it. I might have just met them that day, but I'm like, I already know you. I already saw you. Like, we're not doing that stuff here. Like, that's 2020. Like, you could go back, time travel back then and do it, but we're not doing it today. But today, it's like we have a thriving church. Our church is packed. Like, there's young adults now. There's so much stuff happening. Deliverance is breaking out. Things are happening, like I said, we got the house, we got the baby. I mean, things are being restored in our life. We'll never forget the people that pass away, but God is truly restoring things. God is really just bringing things back. So I want to encourage you guys as I end tonight. Man, I hope you guys are blessed. I hope you guys receive that word. I pray for you guys right now, wherever you're listening from, whether you're watching on the live or watching on the replay later, that God will continue to keep moving in your life, that you might be having a year like the year I've explained that we've had the last 5 years since we've been married, 6, 7 years that we've been married. But that you would have a year like I had last year where God would begin to restore things, that you would begin to see your lives change, that things that the enemy has taken away, that God will restore those things back to you. The enemy will have to literally repay you back. Like he stole some things and eventually it's payday for him. Like it's not going to be like that forever. Like eventually he's going to pay. And we're taking his kingdom. Like we're seeing souls ripped out from his kingdom. Like there's some restoration happening, and I believe it's only going to go up. So look, I appreciate all of you guys for coming on. I want to read some of your guys' comments real quick. Thank you guys. Jojo, I see you. E-Man, you're still in the comments. I think I see my dad here too. Steph, all of you guys that have been on for the stream, I appreciate you guys so much. We're going to end right now. Thank you guys for all your super chats. If you dropped a super chat, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys. You guys are the ones that are keeping this channel alive. You guys are the ones that are supporting. I appreciate it. I definitely want to see this channel grow. We're going to do more live streams. Look, I have some special guests coming the next couple weeks. This is just the kickoff. Me kind of just testing some things out. As you guys know, we had some issues, but look, there's some amazing guests I'm having on in the next couple weeks. I want you guys to come back and join me every single Sunday night at 6 p.m. Unless something crazy happens or we have a baby on a Sunday night. I don't know if I'm prophesying or not, but if something crazy happens, you guys might not see me. But we're going to announce it. It's not just going to blindside you. We're going to announce it. So make sure you guys are following the ATG page on Instagram. So I want to make sure you guys are following that and connecting with us on there. So make sure that you guys give us a follow. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up one more time here so you guys can follow the page if you're not already. Again, some people might be checking this out on the replay. So here it is right there, Against the Grain Pod. You guys can find us on Instagram. Go give us a follow on our stories is where we're going to post when we're, maybe not going live or, something happens. Or if a guest coming on, you guys will be able to find out before anybody else on here. If you guys are following us, you guys can check out all our reels. Man, look at the year that we had. Can we just, as I end, can I just recap? I had Ryan Horton on this year. That's my buddy Alejo there. I had Bree. Who else we got here? Another Ryan. I got some Gen Z in the house as well too. Crazy Richie right there. You guys can see Richie. I had Nicole on. Nicole, she shared her testimony. My other boy Manny, he's all tattooed up. Shared his testimony. We had Ashley on. She was being trafficked as a teen, which is so crazy. You guys can see all these podcasts on our YouTube channel here. So if you're watching this for the first time, go check all our interviews out. I had Coach Mosley on last year in 2023. So amazing to have Coach Mosley on. If you guys haven't seen him, go check out Last Chance U on Netflix. He has an amazing special. He's a East LA basketball coach at East LA College, but he's a man of God. And that show is wild. Be ready for that. That's on YouTube. We also had JJ on as well too. I had my boy Will. I think we ended it last year with Nat. Shout out to Nat if she's watches on the replay. Shout out to you, Nat. She shared an amazing testimony. She was dealing with witchcraft growing up. She had so much stuff that was happening, and she got delivered, set free from all that. She's an MVP. She's brought in so many people to church. I feel like I don't know, like half of our church is all because of Nat. Like the amount of people that she's had bringing in everything, it's been crazy. Her videos definitely have blown up. So again, go check us out on Instagram, give us a follow, and on here on YouTube. Make sure you guys like this video. Please drop a like. It's free. Doesn't cost you a dime. Drop a like on this video. This way we can get it out and more people watch it on the replay. You guys can also post it on your social medias. With that being said, I'll see you guys next Sunday night at 6 p.m. Thank you guys for joining us, and be ready for my guests. Be ready for more things that I have for you guys. So excited. I'll see you guys next Sunday night, 6 p.m. Peace.